My new bike. The next part of the puzzle's just arrived. I've just got my group set from SRAM. I saved a little bit by getting a Cayo rather than the top of the line is Alco Max, and that's the frame that I'm going to build this group set to. And I thought I would just talk you through each component before we go to the workshop and start putting the bike together. So the story of the bike so far is that I bought a Focus Cayo, a 2017 edition. There's new colours available for 2018, but that's life. I'll take the black and white and we'll just keep it fairly stock standard aesthetically. And we're going to see how it marries up with a new SRAM Red eTap group set. That's what I've just got here, so I'm going to talk you through each part. First of all, the SRAM Red derailleur. It's eTap, so we know there's no wires, and that's a big part of the appeal for me.
You should see there'll be a green light up here. Once that starts flashing, the rear derailleur flashes faster. We'll do the same on this side. Done.
Not only does it function very well, but it looks great. The usual Red eTap comes delivered in a beautiful suite of products, all in one big box, or a number of boxes, and they're very, very well packaged. I've got OEM, Original Equipment Manufacturer. This is OEM, so it's come straight from SRAM. So it doesn't come in the big box, but I've got a couple of the nice little boxes. So we have the battery for the eTap. So there's two batteries, one for the front, one for the rear. They're exactly the same, so they're interchangeable. And as it appears on the bike, 24 grams. So have a little protector that just goes on, and we'll take that off in the workshop. This is the derailleur. Again, you have a cover. That's the cover. And then the rest is the actual derailleur. That tips the scales at 213 grams. So pop that little protector back on, and we'll ship that off to the workshop, and that'll be the next setting you see us in. I'm going to go through each part one by one. Front derailleur, the other boxed item. Again, the battery, we know what that weighs in at, and then the actual front derailleur itself. For weighing purposes, I take the little attachment off. That covers up the stuff that attaches to the battery. It's pretty tidy. And I know a lot of research was done during the prototyping of the SRAM Red eTap to make sure that it was weatherproof. What you ended up with is a very neat package, very functional, and it tips the scales at 137 grams. Rounding out the package, there's a lot of other items, but this is the rear brake, Red. It's been around for years, very functional, and crucially not disc brakes. This is my choice. Largely the decision was made based on the fact that I would continue to use caliper brakes, largely because I got a Wahoo kicker at home that doesn't have the through axle option. So I was resistant to disc brakes for years. The thing is, they're here, they're very good. I've had some great experience riding bikes with disc brakes, and to be honest, the time will come where I end up with a bike with disc brakes and hopefully a Wahoo kicker with the through axle option. But in the short term, I'll keep on the caliper brakes. The rear brake tips the scales at 134 grams. Chain, it's a chain. I noticed in the World Championships, Katrin Garfoot, who's a Shimano athlete, she was riding a red chain. We've seen white ones in the past which have got a Teflon-y treatment, and I would assume that that's what the red is about for Katrin Garfoot's bike. The chain that I was talking about, the white one, was from Ceramic Speed. I think you know about that. There's the chain. No surprises. Just to tell you that it weighs in at 248 grams. and we'd probably take a link or two out of that when we're building the bike. The cranks. This is where choice comes into it, because you can have different lengths and different gearing combinations. I know from years of experimenting that 172.5, which is pretty much the most standard, is something that suits me. I've tried longer cranks, up to 180mm cranks, and there is a difference in pedalling action. You certainly notice it. And I've gone down to 160 on a track bike at one point, so I have tried a big variation. This is fairly standard, and the configuration is a 52-36. Gone are the days of everyone riding 53-39. This is what we'd call a semi-compact, not a compact. And it's a ratio that I really like. It gets me up hills, and I can keep on pedaling and stay on top of my gear. Recommended. 356 grams. And the other side of the crank, which is very tidy. I think a good looking crank, the tradition of keeping the high-end cranks as the real peak item has continued across the board, across various manufacturers. Campagnolo Record always looks a lot better than Campagnolo Chorus. Durace always looks better than Ultegra, and Red always looks better than Force. And that applies again this year. The second crank arm, 193, so combined 547 grams. Next piece of the puzzle, and I don't need to weigh this. This is the charger kit. It's come with the Australian plug, but you can fit this around. That flips out, and you can put in your country of choice's electronic adapter. Your country of choice, your country of where you live. The rear cluster. It's got a dirty bag, but it's clean, so that'll suit me with the 36 inner ring. No surprises there. And that weighs in at, including the housing, there's a little bit of plastic housing that comes with that. That's 268 grams. It'll be a little bit lighter without the accoutrements for packing. And probably the thing that sways people for their purchasing decisions more than any other part of a group set is the levers. If it doesn't feel good, you don't want to ride it. I love the red levers. There's a moto just speeding past, high speed outside. I love the levers of SRAM. They used to have a little feel, when you were riding along, they'd have a little hollow patch around here, and I used to fiddle there. But that's been engineered out of the red eTap configuration. That's your little paddle. We'll talk more about the way that it shifts when we're riding the bike. SRAM Red, love them. Very simple little mouse click. I'll put it next to the microphone so you can hear it. If you can pick that up, you're doing really well. It's very, very faint. One lever's much like the other. I've got to find the other one. But they weigh in at 132 grams for the individual item. That's actually it. Believe it or not, that's the group set, and everything's covered. Except this little item, cables. The SRAM inners are supplied as such, and they weigh in at 46 grams. And the outers, which are going to get trimmed a bit, much like the inners, I would imagine, they weigh at quite a lot, in fact, 118 grams. That's just weight you can't avoid. It's part of life. There's a couple of other items that I got from the SRAM family, and that includes the Zip brand, and it's a great product. I'm going to get some Zip wheels later today. They'll be at the shop when I get there. That's me. My bike is about to be put together. Thanks for listening.